The text came through at 2:30 in the morning while I was checking inventory reports in our home office, and it destroyed my marriage in exactly 43 words. I slept with my ex last night. We're back together, and I'm keeping everything we built. You can have the house. I want the business, the accounts, everything else. Don't fight me on this. I read it 3 times. Then I set down my coffee and replied with one word. Understood. My wife Ashley thought she'd won. She thought that single text message had given her control of our divorce, our assets, our future. She thought I'd crumble, beg, plead for her to reconsider. She was wrong about all of it. Let me back up. My name is David Patterson. I'm 38 years old, and until approximately 3 minutes ago, I thought I had a decent marriage. Not perfect, what marriage is, but solid. Ashley and I had been together for 12 years, married for 9. We'd built a successful event planning business together from nothing. Started in our apartment, grew it into a 7-figure company with 16 employees and clients across the Pacific Northwest. The business was technically in both our names, but I'd handled all the back-end operations while Ashley managed client relationships. I was the numbers guy. She was the face. It worked. Or I thought it worked. 3 weeks ago, Ashley announced she was going to Palm Springs for a bachelorette reunion weekend with her college friends. Some bride from their sorority was getting remarried, and they were recreating their original bachelorette party from 10 years ago. Ashley seemed excited about it. I encouraged her to go, told her she deserved a break. She'd been working hard on a major wedding contract we just landed. A tech executive's daughter, $500,000 budget. Are you sure you don't mind? She'd asked while packing her suitcase. Designer clothes, expensive shoes, the kind of outfits she wore to impress other women, not me. Of course not, I'd said. Have fun. Reconnect with your friends. You've earned it. She'd kissed me on the cheek. You're the best, David. I love you. Those were the last kind words my wife ever spoke to me. Now I sat in my office at 3 in the morning, staring at that text message, and something cold and calculating clicked into place in my brain. The part of me that had built spreadsheets and financial models and business projections for 12 years. The part that understood numbers and leverage and consequences. Ashley had made a critical mistake. She'd shown her hand before securing her position. I opened my laptop and got to work. The thing about being the numbers guy in a marriage and business partnership is that you see everything. Every transaction. Every expense. Every credit card charge. Ashley handled the public-facing parts of our company, but I handled all the finances. She trusted me with that. Never questioned my management. Never asked to see the detailed reports. That trust was about to cost her everything. I pulled up our business accounts first. Patterson Events LLC had $340,000 in operating capital, another $180,000 in a reserve account, and $95,000 in receivables expected within 30 days. Our personal accounts held another $220,000 combined. We owned the house, a 4-bedroom Craftsman in Queen Anne worth about $1.2 million, with $400,000 left on the mortgage. 2 cars, both paid off. Investment accounts totaling around $150,000. On paper, we were worth roughly $2.1 million in combined assets. Ashley wanted it all. That's what her text had said. She wanted the business, the accounts, everything else. She could try, but she'd have to get through me first. I pulled up the charges from her trip. She'd taken one of our business credit cards, something we did regularly when traveling for work. Since most of our trips mixed business and pleasure, the card was in her name but linked to our business account. The first charge had hit 3 days ago, $2,500 for a chartered flight from Seattle to Palm Springs. Not commercial, chartered. That was new. Ashley usually flew first-class commercial, which ran about $800 round trip. But apparently this reunion required a private jet. Next charge, $8,900 for 3 nights at the Palms Hotel Presidential Suite. I pulled up the hotel's website. The Presidential Suite ran $2,800 per night, accommodated up to 6 guests, and included a private pool. Then came the incidentals, $3,200 at the hotel spa, $1,800 at a steakhouse, $4,500 for bottle service at a club, $2,100 for a desert adventure experience. Whatever that meant. And the crown jewel, $6,200 for champagne. I clicked through to the itemized receipt. Dom Perignon, 12 bottles, delivered to the suite. I did the math. Ashley had spent $39,200 in 3 days. On a bachelorette party, for someone else's wedding. But wait, there was more. I kept scrolling through the charges. More restaurants, more clubs, a $3,400 charge at a designer boutique, another $2,800 at a jewelry store, one in $1,900 for a private cabana at the hotel pool, and then, buried in the middle of day 2, a charge that made my hair stand on end. $4,800 for an adjoining suite at the Palms Hotel. A second room, booked under Ashley's name, for her ex-boyfriend, I realized. She'd brought him to Palm Springs, paid for his room, spent my money, our money, to facilitate her affair. The total came to $89,400. Call it $90,000 with the charges still pending. $90,000. To cheat on me. I sat back in my chair, feeling that cold calculation spread through my chest. Ashley had made another critical mistake. She'd used the business credit card for all of it. The card in her name. Her legal responsibility. I opened a new browser window and started making phone calls. The first call went to our business attorney, Mitchell Grayson. I got his voicemail, it was 3:45 a.m., and left a detailed message outlining what had happened and what I needed. Mitch was expensive but worth every penny. He'd helped us structure the business, handle our contracts, navigate 2 lawsuits from disgruntled vendors. He was also discreet and ruthless when necessary. The second call went to our accountant, Vivian Shepard. Another voicemail, another detailed message. Vivian had been doing our books for 6 years. She knew every dollar that flowed through Patterson events. She'd know how to document what I needed documented. The third call went to my brother Kyle, who was a detective with Seattle PD. He answered on the second ring, voice rough with sleep. "This better be good, David. Ashley's cheating on me. She's in Palm Springs with her ex. She just texted me saying she wants a divorce and she's taking the business." Silence. Then, "Jesus. I'm sorry, man. What do you need?" "Legal advice. She's been using the business credit card to fund this affair. $90,000 in 3 days. Chartered jets, presidential suites, Dom Perignon. All charged to her name, but paid from our business account." Kyle whistled. "That's embezzlement if she's using business funds for personal use." "That's what I thought. But I need to document everything. I need proof that this was personal, not business." "Do you have the receipts?" "Every single one." "Then you've got her. Screenshot everything. Download all the statements. Get copies before she has a chance to delete anything. If she's claiming the business and the money, she's going to argue those charges were legitimate business expenses. You need to prove they weren't. Already on it. What else? I'm going to need a restraining order. If she thinks she can just walk in and take control of the business, I need legal protection." "On what grounds?" "Financial exploitation, theft, misappropriation of business funds. Take your pick." Kyle was quiet for a moment. "David, are you sure about this? Restraining orders are serious. They're public record. It'll affect her professionally. She destroyed our marriage and embezzled $90,000 to do it. I'm sure." "Okay. Call the King County Courthouse when they open at 8:30. Ask for emergency protective order paperwork. You'll need evidence of immediate threat or harm. The financial stuff might not be enough on its own." "I'll figure it out." "Be smart about this, David. Protect yourself, but don't do anything that could backfire legally. Document everything, talk to your lawyer, and don't engage with her until you have a plan." "Thanks, Kyle." I hung up and continued working. Downloaded 7 years of credit card statements. Flagged every charge from the Palm Springs trip. Created a spreadsheet categorizing each expense. Cross-referenced the charges with our business calendar to show there were no work events scheduled during this time. Documented that the other women on the trip were personal friends, not business contacts. By 6 a.m., I had a 90-page report outlining what Ashley had done. By 7 a.m., I'd transferred $400,000 from our business reserve account into a new account at a different bank, an account in my name only, established to protect business assets during marital dissolution. Completely legal as long as I disclosed it in divorce proceedings. I also changed all the passwords to our business accounts, our website backend, our client management system. By 8 a.m., I drafted an email to our 16 employees explaining that Ashley would be taking an indefinite leave of absence from Patterson events due to personal matters and that I would be handling all client relationships moving forward. I scheduled it to send at 9 a.m. By 8:30 a.m., I was standing in line at the King County Courthouse with a folder full of evidence, ready to file for an emergency protective order against my wife. The courthouse clerk was a tired-looking woman in her 50s named Dorothy, who'd probably seen every kind of human misery walk through her doors. She glanced at my paperwork without emotion. "Emergency protective order," she read. "What's the nature of the threat?" "Financial abuse and theft. My wife has misappropriated $90,000 in business funds for personal use while having an extramarital affair. She's threatened to take control of our jointly owned business and drain our accounts. I need protection before she returns from her trip and tries to access the money." Dorothy looked up at me. You have evidence? I slid the folder across the counter. 90 pages of it. She flipped through the documentation, credit card statements, hotel receipts, the text message screenshot, my financial analysis showing the charges had no business purpose, a letter from our accountant confirming the funds came from our business account. This is thorough, Dorothy said. I'm an accountant. Thorough is what I do. You'll need to see a judge. Emergency hearings start at 10. Take a seat in courtroom 3B. I sat on a hard wooden bench for 90 minutes, watching other people's emergencies unfold. Domestic violence victims seeking protection from abusive partners, parents fighting over custody, people whose lives had exploded and who needed the legal system to contain the damage. I understood them now. I was one of them. At 11:15, a judge called my case. The Honorable Patricia Keene, a sharp-eyed woman in her 60s who looked like she'd heard every lie and excuse in the book. Mr. Patterson, she said, reviewing my petition, you're seeking an emergency protective order against your wife based on financial misconduct? Yes, Your Honor. Walk me through it. I explained everything, the bachelorette party, the charges, the text message confession, the threat to take the business, the $90,000 spent in 3 days. Judge Keene listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, You've documented all of this? Yes, Your Honor. The evidence is in the folder. She spent 10 minutes reviewing my documentation. Then she looked up. Mr. Patterson, I'm going to grant your emergency protective order with modifications. Your wife is prohibited from accessing business accounts, making charges on business credit cards, or entering your business premises without court supervision. She's also prohibited from contacting you except through attorneys regarding divorce proceedings. This order is effective immediately and remains in place pending a full hearing in 14 days. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. One more thing. I'm also ordering you to disclose any asset transfers made in the last 72 hours. That includes the $400,000 you moved this morning. My stomach dropped. How did you? I've been doing this for 23 years, Mr. Patterson. I know when someone's protecting assets before filing for divorce. I'm allowing it for now because you're the primary financial manager and there's evidence of misconduct. But you will disclose it in divorce proceedings, and if I find out you've hidden anything else, I'll hold you in contempt. Clear? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Good. Petition granted. The clerk will provide copies of the order. Serve one to your wife immediately. I left the courthouse at noon with legal protection in place. Ashley couldn't touch the business, couldn't access our accounts, couldn't even call me without legal consequences. Now I just needed to tell her. I sent the text at 1 p.m., right as Ashley was probably having lunch by the pool, still basking in her victory. Per court order issued today, you are prohibited from accessing Patterson Events accounts, making charges on business credit cards, or contacting me except through attorneys. Violation of this order is contempt of court. A copy will be served to you at the Palms Hotel Presidential Suite within the hour. Also, you'll be receiving an invoice for the $90,000 you charged this weekend. The credit card company has been notified that charges were personal, not business-related. Payment is due in full within 30 days. My attorney will be in touch regarding divorce proceedings. I attached a PDF of the protective order and hit send. Then I waited. My phone rang 6 minutes later. Ashley. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Then the text started. What the hell is this? You can't do this. Call me right now. This is insane. I'm your wife. You don't get to cut me off from our business. Call me now, or I'm coming home and breaking into the office. I screenshot every message and forwarded them to Mitchell Grayson with a note. She's violating the protective order already. Mitch called 5 minutes later. David, I got your messages from this morning. I've reviewed the documentation you emailed. This is solid work. You've built an airtight case for financial misconduct. She's already violating the protective order. Check your email. I see that. I'm going to send her a cease and desist immediately. If she continues contacting you, we can file for contempt. Do it. I also need to tell you, she's going to fight back hard on this. The restraining order is extreme. Judges don't usually grant them for financial issues unless there's imminent threat. The fact that Judge Keene granted yours means she saw something serious in your evidence. But Ashley's going to hire a lawyer who'll argue you've locked her out of her own business unfairly. Then she should have thought about that before spending $90,000 to cheat on me. I'm on your side, David, just preparing you for the fight ahead. Also, about that $90,000, she's legally responsible for the charges since the card is in her name, but she's going to argue they were business expenses covered by the company. We need to be ready to prove they weren't. I've already got documentation showing no business purpose. Plus, we don't have clients in Palm Springs. No events scheduled, no networking meetings, just her her friends, and her ex-boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend is the key. If we can prove she brought him on this trip, paid for his expenses, that's personal use of business funds. That could be prosecuted criminally. Do it. David, criminal charges against your wife? That's a nuclear option. She went nuclear first. I'm just responding in kind. Mitch was quiet for a moment. Okay, I'll file the divorce petition today. Irreconcilable differences. We'll request an equitable division of assets accounting for the $90,000 misappropriation. We'll also file a motion to freeze all joint accounts pending forensic accounting of business expenses for the last year. Why the last year? Because if she's been doing this in Palm Springs, she might have been doing it elsewhere. We need to check. I hadn't thought of that, but Mitch was right. If Ashley was bold enough to spend $90,000 in 3 days, what had she been doing for the past year? Pull everything, I said. Every receipt, every charge, every expense report. If there's more, I want to know. I'll get Vivian on it. She'll need access to all your accounts. She's got it. I called her this morning. You're thinking 3 steps ahead? That's good. That's how you win these things. I'm not trying to win, Mitch. I'm trying to survive. Then you're doing it right. I'll call you tonight with updates. He hung up. I sat in my office, staring at my phone, watching the text messages from Ashley pile up. She'd sent 47 in the last hour, each one more desperate than the last. Please call me. We can work this out. I made a mistake. I love you. Don't do this. You're ruining everything. Each message was a violation of the protective order. Each message was evidence. I screenshot them all and sent them to Mitch. Then I blocked Ashley's number and got back to work. The process server reached Ashley at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. I knew because my phone exploded with calls from unknown numbers. Her friends, probably, letting her use their phones since I'd blocked hers. I ignored them all. At 4 p.m., I got a call from a Los Angeles number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. Mr. Patterson, this is Craig Donovan. I'm an attorney representing Ashley Patterson. I need you to explain this restraining order immediately. Talk to my attorney, Mitchell Grayson. His number's on the court documents. I've already spoken to Mr. Grayson. He says you've frozen all business accounts and locked your wife out of her own company. Our company. And she's locked out because she embezzled $90,000 to fund an extramarital affair. It's all documented in the court filings. Read them. Those charges were for a business networking event. Bull. It was a bachelorette party in Palm Springs. There were no clients, no business purpose, just her college friends, and her ex-boyfriend in an adjoining suite she paid for. That's embezzlement. That's absurd. Ashley would never... She texted me at 2:30 this morning, admitting to the affair and claiming she's taking the business. I have screenshots. Your client made a series of catastrophic mistakes, and now she's dealing with the consequences. Mr. Patterson, I strongly advise you to reconsider this course of action. You've effectively destroyed your wife's livelihood over a personal dispute. No, she destroyed her livelihood when she decided to steal company money. I'm just documenting it. The credit card is in her name. She had every right to use it. For business purposes, not personal, not to fund an affair. If you think you can argue in court that chartering a private jet and booking presidential suites for a bachelorette party is a legitimate business expense, be my guest. I'll enjoy watching you try. Donovan was silent for a moment. Then, what do you want? What do I want? I want my wife to not have cheated on me. I want my business to not have been robbed. I want my marriage to not be over. But since I can't have any of those things, I want a divorce, I want my business protected, and I want restitution for the money she stole. Ashley is willing to negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate. She's responsible for $90,000 in personal charges. The credit card company is pursuing her for payment. I've transferred business assets to protect them from her creditors. She can have her personal belongings from the house. I'll have them packed and ready for pickup under supervised conditions. Everything else goes through the divorce proceedings. You're being unreasonable. I'm being practical. Your client committed theft. I'm protecting myself. If she wants to fight this in court, that's her choice. But she's going to lose, and it's going to cost her a lot more than $90,000 before it's over. I hung up before he could respond. My phone rang again immediately. I sent it to voicemail. It rang 6 more times. I turned it off. For the first time in 18 hours, I had silence. I sat in my office as the afternoon light faded, thinking about the woman I'd married, the woman I'd built a business with, the woman who'd kissed me goodbye 3 days ago and told me she loved me. That woman was gone. Maybe she'd been gone for a while, and I just hadn't noticed. Maybe she'd never existed at all. Maybe I'd been in love with an illusion. It didn't matter anymore. What mattered was protecting what I'd built. What mattered was making sure Ashley's betrayal didn't destroy me financially. What mattered was getting through this with my dignity and my business intact. The revenge would be a bonus. Ashley came home 2 days later. I knew because the alarm system on our house sent me an alert when she entered the code. I was at the office, our office, now legally just my office, when it happened. I called Kyle immediately. She's at the house. The protective order says she can't contact me, but it doesn't prohibit her from entering the house. What do I do? Stay where you are. I'll send a patrol car to make sure she's just getting her stuff and not violating the order. Do you want to be there? No, I don't want to see her. Smart. Let her get her things and leave. If she tries to take anything that's not personal belongings, call me immediately. The patrol car arrived within 20 minutes. I watched on my phone through our home security cameras as 2 officers knocked on the door. Ashley answered, looking exhausted. Her hair was tangled, her face puffy from crying. She was still wearing designer clothes, but they looked slept in. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I could see her gesturing angrily at the officers. Then she disappeared back into the house. She emerged 30 minutes later, dragging 3 suitcases. The officers helped her load them into her car, a BMW X5 that I'd bought her last year for her birthday, a $65,000 car that was titled in both our names. I made a note to talk to Mitch about the car. Ashley sat in the driver's seat for a long time after loading her bags. Just sat there, hands on the steering wheel, staring at the house. The house we'd bought together, the house where we'd planned to raise kids someday, the house that was now a crime scene of our failed marriage. Finally, she drove away. Kyle called 5 minutes later. She's gone. Took only personal items according to the officers. Clothes, toiletries, some jewelry, left everything else. Good. David, she looked destroyed. Are you sure you want to do this? Did she look destroyed when she was texting me at 2 a.m, saying she was taking everything I built? No. You're right. I just had to ask. I appreciate it, but I'm done feeling guilty about protecting myself. Fair enough. Listen, I did some digging on the ex-boyfriend. Guy named Trevor Phillips, lives in L.A., works in tech sales, divorced 2 years ago. No criminal record. Seems like a regular guy who happened to reconnect with your wife and blow up your life. Thanks for checking. There's more. I looked into Ashley's finances independently. She's got credit card debt you might not know about $45,000 across 3 cards, all in her name only, nothing joint. My stomach dropped. 45,000? How? Shopping, mostly. High-end stores, restaurants, travel. She's been living beyond her means for a while. Why didn't she tell me? Because she probably knew you'd make her stop. David, your wife has a spending problem. This Palm Springs thing wasn't a one-time splurge. It's a pattern. I thought about our finances. I managed the business accounts, but Ashley had her own credit cards for personal expenses. I'd trusted her to handle her own spending. Never questioned it. Never asked to see her statements. Another mistake. So she's $45,000 in debt. Just spent $90,000 she doesn't have. And she's about to be sued for credit card fraud. What happens now? She declares bankruptcy, probably. Wipes out the debt. Starts over. And the business? If she can prove she's an equal owner, she might be able to claim part of it in the divorce. But given the protective order and the fraud allegations, a judge might rule she's forfeited her interest through her misconduct. So I might actually end up with the whole business. It's possible, especially if Mitch can prove she's been misappropriating funds for longer than just this trip. He's working on it. Vivian's doing a full forensic audit. Then you're doing everything right. Just don't let your guard down. Ashley's desperate. Desperate people make bad decisions. He was right. But Ashley had already made the worst decision possible. Everything after this was just fallout. The forensic audit results came back 1 week after Ashley returned from Palm Springs. Vivian called me at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, her voice tight with concern. David, we need to meet. Today, as soon as possible. What did you find? Not over the phone. Come to my office at noon. I arrived at 11:45. Vivian's office was in a sleek downtown building with views of Puget Sound. She met me in her conference room with Mitchell Grayson already there. That told me everything I needed to know. This was serious enough to require both of them. How bad is it? I asked. Vivian slid a bound report across the table. Very bad. Ashley's been misappropriating business funds for at least 18 months. Maybe longer. I only went back 2 years in the audit. I opened the report. Page after page of flagged transactions. Personal shopping charged to business accounts, restaurant meals with no business purpose, travel expenses that didn't match our business calendar, cash withdrawals with no documentation. How much? I asked. $340,000. The room spun. $340,000? Over 18 months. She was careful about it. Kept each individual transaction under $5,000 so they wouldn't trigger alerts. Spread the charges across multiple accounts, categorize them as legitimate business expenses. But when you aggregate everything and cross-reference with actual business activities, there's no justification. How did I not see this? Because you trusted her, Mitch said gently. Because she was your wife and your business partner, and you had no reason to question her expenses. That's not a failure on your part, David. That's just what happens when someone close to you betrays that trust. So she's stolen $430,000 total. The $90,000 from Palm Springs plus the $340,000 over 18 months. Correct. What are my options? Mitch leaned forward. Legally, you have several. First, we amend the divorce petition to include fraud and theft charges. We request full ownership of Patterson events based on her misconduct. We demand restitution for all misappropriated funds. Second, we can pursue criminal charges. Theft of this magnitude is a felony in Washington state. She could face up to 10 years in prison. Prison? If convicted, yes, but that's unlikely for a first offender. More likely she'd get probation, restitution, and community service. But the criminal charges would be leverage in the divorce proceedings. What's the third option? We go public, file a civil lawsuit, alert her professional network, destroy her reputation in the industry, make it impossible for her to ever work in event planning again. I sat back, processing this. Ashley hadn't just cheated on me. She'd been systematically robbing our business for over a year. Money I'd earned, money I'd saved, money that should have been building our future. She'd stolen it all to fund a lifestyle she couldn't afford and an affair with her ex-boyfriend. Do all three, I said. Mitch and Vivian exchanged glances. David, think carefully about this, Mitch said. Criminal charges will destroy her. She'll have a felony record. She'll never work in a professional capacity again. Her life will be effectively over. So was mine when she sent that text. The difference is, I didn't deserve what happened to me. She does. I'm not arguing the morality. I'm telling you the practical consequences. If you pursue criminal charges, the divorce will get very ugly. She'll fight back hard. It'll be expensive and public and brutal for everyone. How much more expensive? Could run $200,000 in legal fees by the time it's all done. I've got $400,000 in protected assets plus the business. I can afford it. It's not just about money. It's about what this will do to you personally. Divorce is traumatic enough without adding criminal proceedings and public lawsuits. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Ashley's face on our wedding day. Radiant in her dress, promising to love and cherish me for better or worse. I thought about building the business together, working 70-hour weeks, celebrating our first six-figure contract. I thought about planning to buy a bigger house, talking about having kids, building a life. All of it was lies. Do all three, I repeated. File the criminal complaint, amend the divorce petition, destroy her professionally. She made her choices. Now she lives with them. Okay, Mitch said. Then that's what we'll do. But David, once we start this, there's no going back. Once the criminal charges are filed, once the lawsuit is public, your marriage isn't just over. It's scorched earth. You'll never have a civil relationship with Ashley again. Are you absolutely certain? I looked at the audit report. $340,000 in theft. 18 months of lies. A business nearly destroyed. A marriage definitely destroyed. I'm certain. Then let's bury her. The criminal complaint was filed on a Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, every news outlet in Seattle had picked up the story. Event planner accused of stealing $430,000 from business she co-owned with husband ran in the Seattle Times. Local TV stations led their evening broadcast with it. Social media exploded. Ashley's phone number and email were public from our business website. I watched on our company's social media as former clients and industry contacts began commenting, tagging her, demanding explanations. Her Instagram went from public to private within hours. Her LinkedIn profile disappeared entirely. By Friday morning, she'd been arrested. Kyle called me with the update. She turned herself in this morning with her attorney. Posted bail, $50,000, which I'm guessing she doesn't have, so somebody helped her. She's out, but has to surrender her passport and check in with a monitoring officer weekly. What's the timeline for trial? Months, probably. Prosecutors building the case. With Vivian's audit and your documentation, it's pretty open and shut. She'll probably take a plea deal. What kind of deal? Probation, restitution, community service, maybe some jail time, but unlikely for a first offender. The restitution is the key part. She'll be ordered to pay back every dollar. which she can't do because she's $45,000 in debt and just spent $90,000 she doesn't have. Exactly. So she'll either have to declare bankruptcy, which won't discharge the criminal restitution, or spend the next decade paying it off. Either way, her financial life is destroyed. Good. David, I have to ask, are you okay? I know this is what you wanted, but this is serious. Your wife is facing felony charges because of you. Because of her. Because of her choices. I didn't make her steal $430,000. I didn't make her cheat on me. I didn't make her send that text threatening to take everything. She did all of that. I'm just holding her accountable. Okay, just checking. Listen, there's something else. The ex-boyfriend, Trevor Phillips. He's been trying to call you. How do you know that? Because he called the station looking for me. Said he needed to reach you, that it was urgent, that you won't return his calls. I'm not talking to the man my wife was sleeping with. I told him that, but he said he has information you need to hear. Something about Ashley that changes things. Nothing changes anything. David, no, Kyle. I don't care what he has to say. Ashley made her choices. She's dealing with the consequences. I'm done. But Kyle's words nagged at me. What could Trevor possibly know that would change things? What information could be so important that he'd track down my brother through the police department? Against my better judgment, I called Mitch. Trevor Phillips has been trying to reach me. Says he has information about Ashley. Should I talk to him? Absolutely not. Anything he tells you could be a trap. He's probably trying to help Ashley build a defense, get you to say something incriminating. That's what I thought. If he has genuine information relevant to the case, he can tell his attorney, who can tell my office, and we'll review it properly. Do not engage with him directly. Do not respond to his calls. Do not let him manipulate you. Got it. But the curiosity wouldn't let go. What did Trevor know? What could possibly change the situation? 2 days later, I found out. The envelope arrived at my office on Monday morning. Plain manila envelope, no return address, addressed to me personally. I opened it carefully. Years of watching crime shows had taught me to be paranoid about unmarked mail. Inside was a letter, handwritten, 3 pages long. David, it began. My name is Trevor Phillips. I'm the man your wife has been having an affair with. I know you don't want to hear from me, and I understand why. But there are things you need to know about Ashley. Things that explain what happened, things that might change how you see this situation. First, the affair. Ashley and I reconnected 6 months ago at a tech conference in San Francisco. I was there for work. She was there with your company. We had drinks, caught up on old times. It was innocent at first, but then she told me about her marriage, about how she felt trapped, about how she'd married you for stability but never really loved you, about how she'd spent the last 9 years pretending to be happy. I know that's painful to hear. I'm sorry, but you deserve the truth. The affair started 3 months ago. Ashley flew to LA twice to see me. I came to Seattle once. We were careful, or we thought we were. But Ashley was also spiraling. She told me she felt suffocated by your marriage, by your business, by your life together. She said you controlled everything, the money, the business decisions, the social calendar. She said she felt like an employee in her own life. The Palm Springs trip was supposed to be her breaking free. Her friends knew about me. They encouraged her to leave you. The bachelorette party was cover, an excuse to get away and figure out what she wanted. I met her there. We spent 3 days together. And yes, she spent a lot of money. But David, she wasn't stealing from you. She was trying to reclaim something she felt you'd taken from her. Her autonomy, her choices, her identity. I'm not defending what she did. Cheating is wrong, I know that. But the way you've responded, freezing her accounts, getting a restraining order, filing criminal charges, it's vindictive and cruel. You're proving her point. You're controlling her, even in the divorce. She's not a thief. She's not a criminal. She's a woman who made mistakes trying to escape a marriage that made her miserable. She doesn't deserve to have her life destroyed over this. I'm asking you, begging you, to drop the criminal charges. Settle the divorce fairly. Let her keep some dignity. She's already lost her marriage, her business, her reputation. Don't take her freedom too. If you won't do it for her, do it because it's the right thing. Because somewhere under all this anger and hurt, you must remember loving her. You must remember wanting her to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't include you. I know you probably won't listen to this. I know you've made up your mind. But I had to try. For Ashley. For the woman I love. Trevor Phillips. I read the letter 3 times. Then I called Mitch. Trevor Phillips sent me a letter. Long story about how Ashley felt trapped in our marriage, how she was trying to reclaim her autonomy, how I'm being cruel and vindictive. He's asking me to drop the criminal charges. Absolutely not. I'm not going to. But Mitch, what if he's right? What if Ashley did feel controlled? What if I missed signs that she was unhappy? David, stop. Listen to me very carefully. This letter is manipulation. Trevor is trying to make you feel guilty so you'll back off the charges. He's rewriting history to make Ashley the victim and you the villain. Don't fall for it. But what if there's truth in it? Even if there is, even if Ashley felt unhappy or trapped, that doesn't justify theft. That doesn't justify stealing $430,000. That doesn't justify destroying a business you built together. Being unhappy in a marriage doesn't give you the right to commit crimes. I know. You're right. This letter is evidence of consciousness of guilt. Trevor knows Ashley did something wrong. He's trying to minimize it, reframe it, make it sound like justified rebellion instead of felony theft. Don't let him gaslight you. So what do I do with the letter? Keep it. It might be useful later, but don't respond, don't engage, and definitely don't drop the charges. I won't. But Trevor's words haunted me. Had I controlled Ashley? Had I made her feel trapped? We'd built the business together, but I'd made most of the financial decisions. Was that partnership or control? I thought about our marriage, the arguments we'd had, mostly about money. Ashley wanting to spend more, me wanting to save, Ashley wanting to take risks, me wanting to play it safe. Had I been protective or controlling? Did it matter now? The divorce hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks later. Mitch had filed for everything: full ownership of the business, division of assets accounting for Ashley's theft, restitution, legal fees. We were asking the court to give me everything and leave Ashley with nothing. It's an aggressive strategy, Mitch explained. We probably won't get everything we're asking for, but we start high so we have room to negotiate. The goal is to end up with you keeping the business and the protected assets, and Ashley getting minimal payout plus the debt from her criminal restitution. What are the chances of that? With the evidence we have? Pretty good. Judge Keene already granted the protective order, which means she saw merit in your claims. The criminal charges strengthen our position. Ashley's going to have a hard time arguing she deserves half the business when she's literally being prosecuted for stealing from it. When will this be over? Divorce will be final in about 4 months. Criminal case could take longer, maybe 6 to 8 months if she fights it, less if she takes a plea deal. But the worst of it should be behind you by summer. Summer. 6 months away. 6 months of legal battles and court appearances and reliving my wife's betrayal over and over again. But it would be worth it. It had to be worth it. Because the alternative, letting Ashley get away with what she'd done, was unthinkable. The divorce hearing happened on a cold morning in February, 3 months after Ashley's text had destroyed our marriage. I sat at a conference table in Judge Keene's courtroom, Mitch beside me, watching Ashley walk in with her attorney, Craig Donovan. She'd lost weight, a lot of weight. Her face was gaunt, her clothes hanging loose. She didn't look at me, just stared straight ahead, hands clasped in her lap. Judge Keene reviewed the case file, looking grim. "This is one of the more contentious divorces I've seen in recent memory," she said. "Mr. Patterson is seeking full ownership of Patterson Events, LLC, claiming his wife misappropriated $430,000 in business funds. Mrs. Patterson claims those expenses were legitimate business costs and that her husband has unfairly locked her out of the company they built together. Let's start with the theft allegations. Mr. Grayson?" Mitch presented Vivian's forensic audit, walked through 18 months of flagged transactions, showed that none of them had business justification, demonstrated the pattern of personal spending charged to business accounts. Craig Donovan tried to counter-argue, claimed the expenses were for client entertainment, business development, company morale, claimed Ashley had every right to make those charges as co-owner. Judge Keene cut him off. "Mr. Donovan, I've reviewed the audit. These expenses have no business purpose. Luxury shopping is not business development. Personal travel is not client entertainment. Mrs. Patterson systematically misappropriated business funds for personal use. That's theft. The criminal case is pending, but for purposes of this divorce, I'm ruling that Mrs. Patterson has forfeited her ownership interest in Patterson Events, LLC through her misconduct." Ashley's face crumpled. Donovan started to object. Judge Keene held up her hand. "I'm not finished. Mr. Patterson will retain full ownership of the business and all business assets. Mrs. Patterson will receive $30,000 from the protected reserves, approximately 10% of the liquid assets, as settlement. She will also retain her personal vehicle and personal property. Everything else, the house, investments, savings, goes to Mr. Patterson." "Your Honor, that's unconscionable," Donovan said. "My client built that business too. She deserves—" "What she deserves is what the law allows, Mr. Donovan. Your client committed fraud. She stole from her own company. She used business funds to facilitate an extramarital affair. The evidence is overwhelming. She's lucky I'm awarding her anything at all. Will appeal? You're welcome to try. But I'd advise your client to accept this settlement, resolve the criminal case with a plea agreement, and move forward with her life. Fighting this will only cost her more money she doesn't have and time she can't afford to waste. This court finds that Mr. Patterson has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Mrs. Patterson engaged in financial misconduct that justifies unequal division of marital assets. Petition granted. Divorce is final as of today. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. Just like that, it was over. Ashley stood slowly, like her legs wouldn't support her weight. She looked at me finally, her eyes red and empty. I hope you're happy, she said quietly. I'm not, I said, but I'm surviving, which is more than you left me with. I never meant to hurt you. You meant to take everything I built. You meant to destroy me financially and emotionally. You just didn't expect me to fight back. I loved you, David. I really did. No, you didn't. You loved what I could give you, the business, the money, the stability, but you never loved me. If you had, you wouldn't have stolen from me. You wouldn't have cheated on me. You wouldn't have sent that text. Tears ran down her face. I was trying to find myself, to figure out who I was outside of being your wife. You could have done that without committing felonies. Craig Donovan stepped between us. Mr. Patterson, I'd advise you not to speak to my client. Don't worry, I'm done. I walked out of the courtroom into the gray Seattle morning, Mitch beside me. How do you feel? He asked. Empty. That's normal. Divorce is loss. Even when it's necessary. You'll grieve. That's okay. Did I do the right thing? Yes, you protected yourself. You held Ashley accountable. You didn't let her destroy everything you built. That takes strength. It doesn't feel like strength. It feels like survival. Sometimes those are the same thing. We stood on the courthouse steps, watching people go about their ordinary lives. People who weren't getting divorced. People whose wives hadn't betrayed them. People whose worlds hadn't exploded. I envied them. But I also knew I'd gotten through this. I'd survived Ashley's betrayal. I'd protected my business, I'd fought back, and won. The revenge was supposed to feel good, sweet, satisfying. Instead, it just felt necessary. And maybe that was enough. Ashley took a plea deal on the criminal charges 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized. She pled guilty to second-degree theft, was sentenced to probation, community service, and ordered to pay restitution of $430,000 over 10 years. She'd be paying me back, through court-mandated garnishment, for the next decade. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she'd moved to Portland, taken a job doing administrative work at a small nonprofit. Dating Trevor, apparently. Living in his apartment. Starting over with nothing. Exactly what she'd tried to do to me. The business thrived without her. I promoted our operations manager, Kelly Winters, to partner. Gave her the 20% stake Ashley had held. Kelly was smart, hardworking, ethical. Everything Ashley hadn't been. Within 6 months, we'd landed 3 new major contracts and hired 4 more employees. Patterson Events was doing better without Ashley than it ever had with her. I sold the house. Too many memories. Bought a modern condo downtown with water views and minimal maintenance. Started dating a woman I met at a client event. A florist named Rebecca who made me laugh and didn't have a secret ex-boyfriend. Life moved forward. But sometimes, late at night, I still thought about that text message. I slept with my ex last night. We're back together, and I'm keeping everything we built. Ashley had been so confident, so sure she'd won, so certain I'd just accept her decision and let her take everything. She'd never considered that I'd fight back, that I'd protect myself, that I'd turn her own crimes against her. She'd underestimated me, and that mistake had cost her everything. 6 months after the divorce, I got one final text from an unknown number. I knew immediately it was Ashley. She had a distinct way of typing. Always proper punctuation, always full sentences. I know you probably blocked me. I understand why. But I needed to say this. I'm sorry. For everything. For stealing from you. For cheating on you. For that text. I was selfish and cruel, and I destroyed something good. You deserved better than what I gave you. I hope you found happiness. I hope you've moved on. I hope someday you can forgive me, even though I don't deserve it. I'm paying back the money every month. It'll take years, but I'll do it. It's the least I owe you. I'm sorry, David. I'm so sorry. I read the message 3 times. Then I deleted it and blocked the number. Some apologies come too late. Some damage can't be repaired. Some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness. Ashley had made her choices. She'd sent that text message thinking she'd won, thinking she'd take everything I'd built and leave me with nothing. Instead, she'd lost everything. Her marriage, her business, her reputation, her freedom, her future. And me? I'd survived. Rebuilt. Moved forward. The revenge hadn't been about hurting her. It had been about protecting myself, about refusing to be a victim, about holding someone accountable for their actions. I'd done that, and now I was done. I looked out at the Seattle skyline from my condo, drink in hand, Rebecca laughing at something on TV in the other room, and realized something. I was happy. Not the way I'd been happy with Ashley. That had been an illusion, built on lies and blind trust. This was real happiness. Hard-won. Earned. Built on truth and self-respect and boundaries. Ashley's text had destroyed my old life, but it had also freed me to build a better one. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is also the best thing. Sometimes losing everything means you get to keep yourself. And sometimes revenge isn't about hurting someone, it's about surviving them. I raised my glass to the skyline, to the life I'd built from the ashes of my marriage, to the man I'd become through the fire of betrayal. Here's to survival, I said quietly, and I meant it.